What's up guys, Brian Kelly here from Zombie Guitar. So here in today's video I want to talk about triads. So I did the little quotey thing for the triads because this is the stuff that a lot of guitar players are looking for. They're looking for these little 3-note triad clusters. I would rather call them 3-note triad clusters than just say triads, because it's very important how we define stuff. So a lot of guitar players, they think like, oh, this is a triad. And they're right, but they don't realize that this is also a triad, the exact same triad. All right, so here's an A major triad. Here's also an A major triad. Same thing, it's just 3 notes. The triad is the 3 notes that make up the A major chord, the root, 3rd, 5th. That is the triad. A, C sharp, E. So in this video, we're going to look at 12 different shapes. We're going to look at 6 different major chord shapes and 6 different minor chord shapes. Each of these shapes, I'm going to show you how to play it rooted on the E string, the A string, the D string, the G, the B, and the high E string. So the goal for today's lesson is to play B major chords and B minor chords. That's all we're going to do. So I'm going to show you 6 different ways to play a B major chord using these 3-note triad clusters, and 6 different ways to play a B minor chord using the 3-note triad clusters. So the first thing that you have to do is you have to locate your root note on whichever string that you're trying to form the shape on. So the first one, we're going to start out with the low E string here, so I have to find the note B. There's a B right there, 7th fret. So to play a major triad 3-note cluster, this is what it's going to look like. To play a minor triad 3-note cluster, you simply lower the 3rd. So here's a B minor, B major, B minor. So notice how this sounds exactly the same as this B minor chord right here. You're probably already familiar with this B minor chord. Again, this is a B minor triad. It's just played across 5 strings. So B minor chord, B minor chord, B major chord, B major chord. Alright, it's just a different way of playing the same 3 notes. In both instances, it was a triad. Alright, so now we're going to play a B major and a B minor chord using these 3-note triad clusters with the root note found on the A string. So we could use this B right here, 2nd fret, and you could do that. You know, you can definitely play shapes based on that root, but I want to play shapes where I need more notes in this direction. So I'm actually going to come up to this B up here, 14th fret of the A string. That's going to be my root note location. So the shapes are going to be the same as what we just looked at previously. So here's a B major triad, and then here's a B minor triad. All right, exactly the same as what we looked at before. We're now just placing our root note on the A string. All right, so the next 2 examples are going to be where we have our root note on the D string. So we have to find the note B on the D string. All right, so let's do that. So right there, there's the note B right there. We can use that one. So if you don't know your notes on the D string or on the upper strings, you can always just kind of use the little cheat. Most guitar players, they kind of know their low E string and A string pretty well. They don't really have to think too hard to find the notes. So most guitar players can be like, oh, there's a B. They can find that pretty quickly. But if you want to find a B on the D string, you can just do the whole move up 2 frets, skip a string trick. So if this is a B, move up 2 frets, skip a string, there's also a B. All right, so that always works. Like if I wanted to find the note G, here's a G. Move up 2 frets, skip a string, there's a G. So that will help you find your notes on the D string. All right, so we found our B. Here's a B. So here's going to be the major chord shape. So it looks like this. Here's the minor chord shape. So if you notice, the only difference between a major chord and a minor chord is the 3rd. The root remains constant for both the major and the minor. The 5th remains the same. It's just the 3rd that's changing. All right, so knowing your root note location allows you to find the root. Knowing the note that is being the one that's changing from major and minor, that gives you your 3rd or your minor 3rd if it's a minor chord. And then the remaining note is your 5th. You know, so this is just stuff to keep in mind when it comes to chord tone targeting, or taking these chord shapes and maybe altering them into some other types of chords for which information on which note is the root, 3rd, and 5th would be beneficial to know. So that's just a little, you know, something to keep in mind. All right, so for the next 2 examples, the root note is going to be on the G string now. So again, you can use the same trick if you don't know your notes on the G. but you do know your notes on like the low E and the A string really well. So you know how to find a B easily on the A string, right there, 2nd fret A string. The same trick works as we just did previously. up 2 frets, skip a string, there's a B. Or if you're on this B up here, 14th fret of the A string, up 2 frets, skip a string, there's a B. All right, so if you're on this B or if you're on this B up here, it doesn't really make a difference. The important thing is that the root note location is now on the G string. Therefore, this is going to be our B major shape. This is going to be our B minor shape. Root 3rd 5th, root minor 3rd 5th. You could also play them up here. B major, B minor. The next one is going to be where the root note location is on the B string. All right, so we have a B right here. You have a B open string as well. Let's just do this one right here, 12th fret. So when the root note is on the B string, this is my favorite. I love this one. You have this nice pretty shape right here. Looks just like a D chord, right? It's because according to the cage system, this is the D shape, right? So in the cage system, you're actually going to have like this other annoying little note down here like this. This is actually the official D shape, but no one does that. People just play the high 3 strings because it's way easier to play and you don't have to configure your hands in some kind of weird orientation, whatever. It's still the D shape. It's still the D shape. Yeah, whatever. So this is your B major chord now when the root note is on the B string. This is your B minor chord. So if you know that this is your root, and you know that the note that's getting changed between major and minor is on the high E string, process of elimination tells you that this is the 5th. All right, so root 3rd 5th, root minor 3rd 5th. All right, B major, B minor, B major, B major, B minor, B minor. Oh, and one thing I forgot to mention right there is if you have trouble finding your notes on the B string, but you do know your notes on the low E string and the A string, you can use the same type of trick that we used previously to determine where your note is. You're just going to have to kind of do it in 2 steps now. So you already know that your B is here, 7th fret, low E string. So up 2 frets, skip a string, there's a B as well. Now, if you want to find the next instance of the B in the next octave, you're going to skip 3 frets now. So 1, 2, 3. Skip a string, there's your next B. Just in case you have trouble finding your root note locations on the B string. Anyway, so finally we're going to finish up with the root note location being on the high E string. So if you know your notes on the low E string, the high E string is going to be the same thing. So if this is a B, this is also a B up here. All right, so we're going to use that one. So this is going to be the major triad. This is going to be the minor triad. So we already know that our root is here. We already saw that the note that's getting changed between major and minor is down here, so that has to be our 3rd. Process of elimination means that that's our 5th. All right, so B major, root, 5th, 3rd, B minor, root, 5th, minor 3rd. And that's all the shapes. So with that, you can play any major chord, any minor chord, anywhere on the neck of the guitar using these 3-note triad cluster shapes. Sure, you're going to have to memorize 12 shapes. You could actually just memorize 6 shapes and just memorize where the root 3rd and 5th is within each of the 6 shapes, and then just know to lower the 3rd if you want to make it a minor chord. Just a little bit easier process of memorization. But anyway, that's going to do it for today's lesson. If you haven't already, stop by, check out my website, zombieguitar.com. That is my labor of love for the past 10 years. I don't plan on stopping anytime soon, so the site's only going to grow with more and more content. It's about 10 years in now. See how it's going to be in the next 10 years. So check it out. Thank you for watching. Take it easy.